Hello, everyone. My name is Ethan Butler. Welcome to diving into Nike. Today I'll be talking about my final presentation in business management, BSAD 310, with Professor Keeler. In this presentation, I will be taking a deeper dive into Nike and who they are as a company, along with how they are structured and their strengths and weaknesses. On this slide, here's a brief roadmap of what I'll be talking about in this presentation. First, I will start off with a brief introduction of what kind of company Nike is and their vision and mission statements. Then I will go on part one of my deep dive, where I speak Nike organizational structure and their layers of management, which explains the layers of management in depth. Moving on to part two, this is where I evaluated Nike's environmental factors. From there, I discussed the SWOT analysis, which we discussed in class over the year. Everybody should be familiar with the SWOT analysis. It's very important to basically almost every company. A SWOT analysis is a technique used by companies to point out their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's just to give you a brief overview. Then I will discuss part three of diving into Nike. This is where I talked about the different structures a company could have along with their pros and cons, like the goods and bads of the company. Like they might have a lot of good things. Every company has something that they could work on and or fix. Not necessarily all bad, but it could be an easy fix. So that's why I would say the cons are. Um, from here, I stated what I thought best fit Nike and what Nike would categorize with my own reasoning. After going through the three parts of my paper, I state where I learned writing this paper, what I learned from writing this paper. Finally, I'll give my conclusion on Nike following the references I used throughout the paper and questions. On this slide, this is my introduction slide, basically on diving into Nike. Nike is a for-profit organization that sells sportwear and footwear. Nike is now a global company, being the number one company in the shoe industry. In this presentation, I will be speaking on Nike structures and values. Every company, as we learned in BSAD business management this year, that every company has a certain structure and all of them have values. So I will be diving in deep into that in my diving into Nike paper. Part one of diving into Nike. I basically talked about Nike's mission statement. Nike mission statement is also something that we learned in business management this year, which is very helpful. I never even knew what a mission statement was until I took this class, so that was very helpful to me. But basically, Nike's mission statement is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. So basically, Nike targets athletes, and we also learn in business management you have to and social media marketing that you have to target a certain audience when you're a company. So that was that. I learned that over the course. Nike also believes that everyone with a body is an athlete, so you don't have to technically be an athlete to be targeted. It's a little cute little saying. So they try to reach everyone in the world. Nike's vision statement is to remain the most authentic, connected, and distinct, and become more and more of a distinctive brand. This is where I dive deep into Nike having a functional organizational structure and the three layers of their management. In part two of the paper, I go through Nike's environmental factors to come with their SWOT analysis, which I mentioned earlier in the paper. A SWOT analysis, which I'll tell you again, a SWOT analysis is the strengths, the weaknesses, and opportunities and threats of the company. Um, One of Nike's strength is their signature logo being so well known. Everybody knows the Nike logo. And they're saying behind the logo, just do it. They sometimes switch it up with a swoosh or little other sayings, but usually it's just do it. Everybody knows it for that. One of Nike weaknesses is their poor labor conditions. Uh, One opportunity Nike has that is emerging markets. Um, One of Nike threats is the rise of their competition pressure, because a lot of people is they are kind of stealing their ideas or making similar logos and doing kind of taking a lot of things from Nike. So Nike, I think they have to switch it up a little more and be a little more creative. And part three of the paper is where I dive deep into the organizational structures that a business can fall under and which one Nike falls under or best fits. Um, the four organizational structures are functional, conglomerate, divisional, and matrix. I go into detail about all four and give their pros and cons of each of the organizational structures in the paper. After looking into Nike and really diving deep on who they are and what they do, I feel like Nike has a functional organizational structure, and I will talk deeper into that in the paper. As overall, I can honestly say I learned a lot from working on this project over the course of the year. It was very helpful to me. From this project, I've also learned how Nike runs their successful business, which is very successful for me. I'm actually a big fan of Nike. I learned the different organizational structures and how business goes about from their mission statement and vision statements to their strengths, their weaknesses, everything. It just taught me a lot. So I can honestly say, like I said before, I've learned a lot from this, and it was very helpful doing this. So to wrap it up with my conclusion, this project ties in the different levels of management, different organizational structures, Nike strengths and weaknesses, and what and how Nike started. So at this time, does anyone have any questions or any concerns or anything I talked about today?